there's a well-known figure of Chicago's unhoused population who's been critically injured because he was set on fire while he was asleep. Joseph Kromelis, 75 years old. He's known as the walking man and the walking dude. Why? Because he walks the streets of the Loop. Well, he suffered third-degree burns over 65% of his body. He was sleeping on Lower Wabash Avenue when a man walked up, poured flammable liquid on him and lit it. That, again, just like Griggs, is another individual who should be incarcerated for a long, long time. There was a security officer nearby Mr. Kromelis, and he saw him essentially ablaze. So what he did is he used a fire extinguisher to put the fire out and to help save this man's life. Mr. Kromelis was taken to Northwestern Memorial Hospital, and he's in critical condition, where officials say that his chances of surviving, they are not good, unfortunately. One law enforcement source said, "We were just told that he's most likely to die." This is also what we know, that the attacker was seen on surveillance video going to the Clark and Lake CTA station and taking a Blue Line train toward O'Hare. An alert issued by police Wednesday afternoon described the suspect as a tall male with a medium light complexion and wearing a black and white hood-rich jacket and gray sandals. Now, images of the person suspected have been taken from the CTA Blue Line security camera, and here they are here. And this wasn't the first time as well that Mr. Kromelis was attacked, because remember, he is an unhoused individual and he is living on the streets. And so when you have individuals like this individual in this hoodie here covered up in his face, you have to remember that those individuals are out there and that they pose a threat to unhoused people. So this is what we know from the Chicago Sun-Times. On May 24th, 2016, Mr. Kromelis, he was brutally beaten by someone with a baseball bat in the 400 block of East Lower Walker Drive. The two were struggling over the bat when police arrived. He was taken to Northwestern, then to, and was treated for cuts and other injuries to his head and legs. Thousands of dollars were raised on his behalf through GoFundMe appeals. So to know more about Mr. Kromelis, who also, again, he is unhoused, but that doesn't mean he is unloved. So relatives said that he moved to Chicago from his family, with his family from Lithuania when he was a kid and grew up above a bar his parents had run on Halsted Street. His parents sold the tavern and moved to southwestern Michigan when he was about 19. Kromelis stayed in Chicago where he got a peddler's license and sold jewelry on the street and began wandering the streets of the Loop. Now this is a family photo that was made available via ABC 7 News. Kromelis is in the white V-neck, center left. His sister-in-law said, "We always worried because he was on the street all the time. He just likes walking." The man is part of the community. He just liked walking, and yet he was attacked and set afire. And now he's likely going to die, suffering those third-degree burns over 65% of his body. He wasn't doing anything to anyone. He was just sleeping. This is heartbreaking. It is disgusting. Jackson.
Yeah, and it's just really unfortunate that human beings are capable of doing this type of, just horrendous acts to other people. And clearly, since he, had an alias, the Walking Man, the whole city pretty much knew him. This definitely was premeditated. Whoever this guy was, it's definitely looking like he had planned this out as maybe some type of, glory trip that he could have. But I also want to point out how ridiculous it is that the wealthiest nation in the history of civilization has over 500,000 homeless people on the streets. Just think about all the vacant homes, all the vacant buildings, all the funding that we have for public housing that goes unspent or that's on the docket somewhere in Congress, stuck and held up. Just all the economic issues that we have. There's so much that we could be doing to get these people off the streets, given the fact that it costs more to the taxpayers to have over 500,000 people living homeless on the streets than it would to take care of them. So unfortunately, if the United States gave a damn about the average person, then this likely never would have happened.
Absolutely, and you make an excellent point. The fact is that minimum wage is not increasing, yet the cost of living has skyrocketed. People can't afford housing, and we're seeing so much of that now. So even just the fact that he was an individual who would like to walk, and did his best, I'm sure, to try to live a life where he could have housing. It doesn't mean necessarily that the system hasn't failed him, because we know the system is failing us all in so many regards. And what happened to this individual is completely and totally unacceptable, and it's not right. And so I definitely implore you all to really take a look at that photo and see if you recognize the gentleman who was going through the metro station there as a potential suspect. And if you do recognize him, to contact the Chicago PD, because people like this should not be out on our streets in any form and fashion. And there are so many people who are forced to be out on our streets because they cannot afford housing. And they're vulnerable populations, and we have to do better.